Okay, we're ready. I'm here. We're just a couple of minutes late, but good afternoon and welcome to the July 20th meeting of the Columbia Rotary Club. It's great to see everybody here. I am your new president, Laura McKinney. If we missed you last week, here we are. So if everyone would take a moment to silence your cell phones for our program today. And we will start with our invocation with Gracie Stevenson.
All right, if you'll pray with me. Heavenly Father, as we gather today as Rotarians, united in our commitment to service of self, we take a moment to center our hearts and reflect on the community we serve and the relationships we build. We ask today for strength, not just physical strength to carry out our projects, but moral fortitude to face our challenges with integrity and courage, and to be vigilant in our own endeavors. We pray that the devil won't bring us down. We recognize that in our human weakness, we sometimes fall short. Teach us the humility required to apologize and give us the space in our hearts to offer forgiveness to one another. We pray for vision, we pray for wisdom, we pray for weapons against the system to heal the victims. May our club be a sanctuary where accountability meets grace, allowing us to mend what is broken and move forward together in true fellowship with hope and joy. We thank you for the food that is before us. We pray for the hands that prepared it, and we ask that you bless it to the nourishment of our bodies. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gracie. And if everyone's remain standing, and we'll sing the national anthem. I'm not going to sing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Okay, and one more before we sit. Let's recite the four-way test. The things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you. Okay, for our introduction of our visitor and meeting Rotarian, I'll have Adam come, our master greeter.
Is this working? Good afternoon, everybody. We have one visiting Rotarian today, Chris Culbertson from Manhattan, Kansas. If you'll please stand. Thank you, Chris. Do we have any guests?
Hello, everybody. I'd like to introduce you to the new artistic director of Columbia Classical Ballet, Joseph Phillips. We're so happy to have him. And he spent probably 20 hours yesterday laying the floor for our new studio. So welcome.
Any other guests?
Thank you, Adam. And our guest Rotarian, though, Chris, I don't think you have relocated, am I correct?
I have relocated.
And you have a new job,
I do have a new job.
which is?
I am a new dean of the College of Arts and Sciences at the University of South Carolina.
Member of our club, Trans Nice. So moving right along, did want to before we do get to the health and happiness and the cart message, I did want want to just throw this out there. We have a new cart goal for this year, which I just conferred with Frank, and he's reluctantly agreed to let me challenge us. So we made $10,000 last year for the cart fund, which is amazing. That was great. And as Frank pointed out, at the end, the push does come from some of our larger donors. This year, I would like to challenge us to spread that love a little more, and our cart goal this year will be $12,000. And we will work on that, so that's $1,000 a month averaging, but we will talk about another service opportunity or fundraising opportunity where we can work together to raise those funds. And so with that, actually, Mike, if you would come up and for health and happiness, our cart message.
I was going to say this. Thank you, Madam President. As of today, 2025, some good news. 2025, the first blood test was FDA approved. Again, I mentioned this earlier, but so with simple blood tests, early onset Alzheimer's, they can detect it. Very nice. 2 drugs last year were approved to reduce plaque. So FDA approved 2 drugs to early onset Alzheimer's. You catch it early enough, reduce plaque, and slow down progress. Hasn't cured it. Right now in the pipeline, 158 drugs this year are in the early stages of development. So that's fabulous. A lot of movement doesn't seem big, but it is huge from where we were 10 years ago. 12,000, I think, is an easy attainable goal for the start early. Quote of the day: alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. Helen Keller. So together as Rotarians we can do a lot.
Frank, did you have a cart message that you want to share?
It was covered in blood test.
Oh, there you go. Oh, Mike, you just did that from your head. Great. Okay, so on to some really great fun activity today. We have an induction of a new member. So as you just take a bite there, Dr. Walker, if you don't mind, come on up. Glenn.
Thank you, Madam President. And so today is a good day because anytime we can induct a new member, it's always a good day. So our new member induction today is Todd Walker. So today it's my distinct pleasure to introduce and welcome our newest members of the Rotary Club of Columbia, South Carolina. Todd Walker. Todd joins us as the Superintendent and CEO of Richland School District 1, where he leads one of South Carolina's premier public school districts with a vision centered on excellence, opportunity, and service. Before coming to Columbia, Todd built an impressive career in educational leadership, dedicating his life's work to helping students, educators, and communities reach their fullest potential. His education background reflects the same commitment to lifelong learning. Todd earned his Bachelor of Arts, Master of Education, and PhD from the Ohio State University, along with a Juris Doctorate from Capital University Law School. It's a remarkable combination of academic achievement and leadership that has prepared him to serve at the highest levels of public education. Beyond his professional accomplishments, Todd is someone who believes in investing in people. Whether he's working with students, teachers, administrators, or community leaders, he understands that strong communities are built through collaboration, compassion, and service. Those values are at the very heart of Rotary. Todd is joined in life by his wife, Kiana, and together they share a commitment to family and community. We are honored that you have chosen to make Rotary a part of your journey. Your leadership, experience, and passion for serving others will make our club stronger. Todd, you've been invited to join this club because the members of Columbia Rotary recognize not only your professional accomplishments, but your character. Rotary is built on people who lead with integrity, put service above self, and believe that together we can accomplish more than any one of us can alone. Today, you become part of something much larger than this room. You're joining a worldwide fellowship of more than 1 million Rotarians who share a common purpose: to improve lives, strengthen communities, and promote goodwill around the world. With this honor comes responsibility. We ask that you share your talents, your ideas, and your leaderships with this club. We also hope you'll find in Rotary meaningful friendships, opportunities for service, and a place where you'll continue to grow both personally and professionally. At this time, I'd like to ask all the Rotarians in the room to please rise. Todd, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Columbia, South Carolina, it's my distinct honor to officially welcome you as our newest member. Now I invite your sponsor, Catherine Davis, to place a Rotary pin on your lapel. Fellow Rotarians, Todd has spent his career shaping the future by investing in others. Today we're proud to invest in him as a fellow Rotarian. Please join me in giving Todd Walker a warm, enthusiastic Columbia Rotary welcome.
That's been a long time coming. I know you've been busy.
My team always tells me, take pictures.
That's right,
So, Catherine, please, would you mind taking, you look like you're an awesome teacher. I believe in you. Okay.
We put people there. Some speaker Samantha, but she's. I wear a lot of hats, it's fine.
Thanks.
Okay, ready?
All right. Thanks.
That's right, photographing evidence is important. And now that we've just put Samantha to work, I'm actually going to ask Graham if she would come up and introduce our speaker for tonight.
So we really have already put Samantha to work. She's placed a work order for Glenn's trash cans, even taken photos. Well, I have the privilege of introducing our speaker, Samantha Yager, today. She serves as the Solid Waste Superintendent for the City of Columbia, where she has nearly 15 years of experience overseeing solid waste management for the capital city. She also serves on the Board of Directors for South Carolina chapter of the American Public Works Association and Keep the Midlands Beautiful. She is a graduate of the University of South Carolina, holding a BA and a master's in mass communication. With a passion for community engagement and sustainable future, she is dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for Columbia's residents. In her free time, Samantha loves to play tennis, take her two rescue dogs, Lucy and Lola, on the adventures to the dog park. I also had the privilege of listening to Samantha. She came and spoke to our Leadership Columbia class, and I learned a lot. So please join me in welcoming Samantha Yager.
Thank you, and good afternoon. I'm so happy to be here today. Yes, Graham, you'll get all the answers to the quiz at the end, so please pay attention. We do have a quiz. But thank you for having me. Like Graham said, I am the solid waste superintendent for the City of Columbia. Not really sure how I got there. Started with the city as an intern, but here we are. I talk trash all day for a living. This is our friend, the recycling wizard. I said I wear many hats. I may or may not wear a wizard hat some days at work. The wizard and I have never been in the same room at one time, so. However, the city is here to serve you. For what we do in the solid waste division, we are a division of 122 employees. We service everywhere from out Garner's Ferry, almost into Hopkins, downtown in our core, out Harbison area, and then now we're all the way out I-20, Clemson Road area, Wood Creek Farms. So our city is growing exponentially. But we want to make sure that we are having best practices when it comes to solid waste to include recycling, composting, all of that. So we actually do run a compost facility that we take your clean yard waste to. That is off of Shop Road, right by the animal shelter. So you can pick up some dirt and you can go pick up a pet. We're very convenient right off the Shop Road. The city's recycling program started April 1st, 1991, and it's not a joke. So we started curbside recycling with the bins and the compartment trucks where our drivers would sort all the material at the curb. They'd have a compartment for paper, a compartment for cans, a compartment for glass, 3 compartments for glass, clear, brown, and green glass. So in 2015, when I began in the solid waste division, our biggest project was revitalizing our recycling program. With that, we went from those 18-gallon bins to our 96-gallon roll carts. Just to take a quick survey, who has a blue cart at their house? Who has a green cart, lime green? Okay, okay, anybody have anything different? Okay, perfect. So what I will tell you in this presentation is applicable for the city of Columbia and Richland County. Every program is a little bit different, West Columbia, KC, and the biggest takeaway is stick to your list. Whatever your municipality says, stick to your list. But since 2015, we have increased our residential collection by 10,000 services. We are now servicing over 43,000 residents. So the basics, how does recycling work? Everything goes in that cart, you put it at the end of your driveway, you go to work, and poof, it's gone. Where does it go? What happens to it? So our local recycler is Sunoco Recycling. It's called a MRF, which is a materials recovery facility. So what happens is we no longer sort the items at the curb. Sunoco does that all for us. So we have to remember that people are still hand sorting this. So we want to make sure our recycling is clean, visible of any, free of any food or liquids. People are still hand sorting this stuff. Obviously, if there's food, leftover soda in your bottles, that can attract pests, attract disease-carrying rodents. We want to make sure our workers are first and foremost safe. So what can you recycle? Like I just said, stick to your list. In Richland County, we have the big four: paper, metal, glass, and plastics. But not all materials are created equally. So for paper, we want to make sure that we have cardboard, magazines, envelopes with little plastic windows are fine, cereal boxes, pasta boxes, all of that is okay. We are now actually accepting paper coffee cups, so that's a big win. We don't want your plastic lid, but we want the cup for sure. As far as metals go, we want aluminum cans, tin cans, soup vegetable cans like that. We don't want any scrap metal, large pieces of metal, bicycles. We've also seen shotgun shells in recycling. Very wishful, but it does not belong here. And then for glass, we do take clear brown and green glass bottles, spaghetti jars, spaghetti sauce jars, pickle jars, beer and wine. The only thing we don't take is blue glass, and that's because there's an additive in there that makes it extremely hard to recycle. Again, stick to your list. This is pretty basic. Everything I just went over. We do have some big no-nos. So we want to make sure that the recycling is loose in that cart. If there's in bags or there's plastic bags, there are not enough people and there are not enough hours in the day to rip open those bags and figure out what's in there. We also have some very intelligent residents like to hide stuff in those bags. Paint cans, batteries, anything that probably shouldn't go in the recycling. We also want to stay away from styrofoam and plastic cups. They have the recycling symbol on them, but that does not mean they are recyclable here in Columbia. But it has the recycling symbol, yes. That recycling symbol was created a long, long time ago by the manufacturers of recycling and what manufacturers take the recycling for. All it does is tell them what chemical makeup that plastic is. So you have a 1 through 7 plastic. A lot of people were like, well, that's a number on it, so it's recyclable. It's not. It's based on what the market demand is here in Columbia. It depends on what Sunoco is able to sell and able to collect in quantities that are profitable. It's still a business. This is a picture of a sorting machine, and that is all the plastic bags jammed up in the sorting machine. So that's what happens when you throw your plastic bags and films in your recycling cart. This stops the recycling process. They have to shut down the entire facility, hand pull all those out, and restart again. So again, stick to your list. Another big thing that we fight is contamination. We have a lot of wishful recyclers, and that's just across the board, nationwide. I wish this could be recycled, so I'm gonna throw it in my cart anyways. So light bulbs, food waste, garden hoses, holiday lights. We see a lot of these things throughout the year. And again, this stops the recycling process. even though it may be recyclable somewhere else, or it could be dropped off somewhere, like electronics. We take electronics every day at Public Works. Electronics are actually banned from our landfills in South Carolina. So anything that plugs in from your toaster oven, microwave, your vacuum cleaner, to your computers, laptops, devices, we take all of that at Public Works. And we take it to a proper recycler. So why should we recycle? Yes, we all remember those 3 R's in grade school: reduce, reuse, recycle. It has been imprinted on all of us, and we have to remember that recycling is our 3rd best option, but it's a great option. So our top reasons for recycling, as you guys can read, the first 3 are business alone. The last are about environment. Yes, recycling protects our air quality, it protects our land and natural resources, our water resources, trees, everything, because once it goes to the landfill, it's buried there. A landfill is a giant hole in the ground where your trash just sits there. Doesn't decompose, you can't get that land back. But when we recycle, we turn it into a new product. We have a recycler right here in our backyard in North Carolina that takes your plastic bottles and turns it into clothing. A lot of shirts and pants, jackets, a lot of that is recycled plastic. However, when it comes to recycling in South Carolina, we have a $13.6 billion impact from the state on recycling companies. We have more than 350 companies in South Carolina that are related to recycling. That's not just the processors like Sunoco, that's tire manufacturers, tire recyclers, scrap metal recyclers. It's people like Fisher Recycling that's taking your glass and turning it into beautiful countertops and other products, or additives to asphalt. They're turning glass and putting it back into our asphalt for safe roadways and longevity of your pavement. Recycling also creates jobs. We have more than 40,000 jobs in South Carolina that are related to recycling. That's everything from the driver that comes by your house every day, to people like me, to the people at Sunoco Recycling that sort the material, and then the manufacturers that turn it into somebody else. And then we talk about indirect jobs. Indirect jobs can be your gas station attendants, McDonald's employees, wherever your truck drivers are stopping, that's an indirect job related to recycling. So we have to think about that as well. And like I said, $13.6 billion impact on the state, that's huge. And a lot of people think that South Carolina may not be the best at recycling, but we're working on it, we're getting there. I mean, just in the last year, we added more than 600 jobs related to recycling. All right, recycling is great. We've got everything. So what's next? What's really the biggest thing? And it's not your recyclables, your traditional recyclables, it's food waste. Food waste is the #1 thing going into our landfills. 40% of what we're growing in the US is not being touched, not being eaten, not being looked at. It's headed right to your landfill. That's coming from your grocery stores, your big institutions, your big commercial institutions as well. So what can we do? We're going back to that first R, is reducing it. What can we do to reduce our food waste and reduce our use of single-use plastics, containers, other things? We have to first raise awareness. We have to think about, what are we doing at home? Like your quote, if we can all work together, we can make a big change, right? So when it comes to reducing food waste at home, even looking at what you're buying, how much you're buying, do I need to make a list before I go to the grocery store? Am I overbuying? Do I really need 2 bags of chips, or am I okay with 1? Or do I really need bottled water and seltzer water? It's making small decisions. And when it comes to food safety in a refrigerator, we talk about moving the old stuff in front so you see it first, and you use the old stuff first, and then you have the new stuff behind it. We also talk a lot about product dating. Just because there's a date on your food doesn't mean it's bad. So the test of tale is give it the old smell test. If it smells a little funky, it's probably a little funky, you don't want to eat it. Those dates on your products are best by dates. It is the best flavor or taste. It It does not mean your food is bad, it doesn't mean you can't consume it, it's just when it tastes the best. So all of that, people are thinking, okay, well, it's bad, you know, I'm just gonna throw it away, just gonna throw it away, just gonna throw it away. That's what's contributing to that #1 food waste going to our landfills. And like I said, ways you can help is plan your meals, shop at home before you go shopping at the grocery store. But the other big thing is donation. So there's a good Samaritan law, they actually recently changed it the last few years where it limits the risk on donating food. There's a huge impact for restaurants, businesses to donate food to shelters or other places that are feeding families here in South Carolina. And since that law has changed, we've been able to donate more food. And then the third best option for reducing food waste is composting. I know composting is a little scary to some people. However, the city does do 2 annual sales for backyard compost bins. We do not have a commercial composter here in Columbia yet. We're working that way. But backyard composting, you can do it right in the bin. You can do banana peels, vegetable peels, anything like that. Just no meats, fats, oils, anything cooked, you want to keep out of your backyard compost bin. And then you put your grass clippings and your leaves in there, mix it all up. It takes about 6 weeks and you have a nutrient-rich soil that goes right back into the earth. You know, your garden beds, landscape beds. And also with composting, the compost dirt product that comes from it, the same product that comes out of our composting facility, it's more nutrient-rich. It actually holds water better, so it reduces your need for water, so it reduces your need for commercial fertilizers, anything like that. So you're just, composting is nature's way of recycling. I know how much time I have, so. Okay, I know I kind of went through that fast. But I know I get a lot of more questions than what I can actually talk about and speak about, and very specific questions too, so I'm happy to answer any questions. But first, we're gonna take a little quiz. And Graham can't get all the answers here. True or false, your plastic bottles can turn into clothing?
True.
Yes, yes. And also you'll think, a lot of people don't know it, and it goes unrealized that 60% of the carpet made in the US is also made from plastic bottles. So carpeting in your house, schools, throw rugs, anything like that can be made from plastic bottles. True or false, your soda can go from curbside back to the grocery store in 60 days.
True.
True, yes. It is that short of a process. Yes. Your soda can or your seltzer water or whatever you might be drinking out of an aluminum can go from your curbside back to the grocery store shelf as a new can within 60 days. And if it goes in a landfill, it's gonna sit in the ground forever, covered by dirt. True or false, all paper is accepted in the recycling bin? False. False. Okay, tell me why false. Okay. Food and grease, heard that. Anybody else anything? You're onto something. Types and qualities of paper.
Yeah, what if it's something that's
Okay. Close, you're close. So the biggest things with paper are like your paper towels, your tissue paper, your toilet paper. Even though it's paper, those papers are so thin and the fibers are very weak, they cannot be recycled. But everything Post-it note size and up can be recycled. So your magazines, your envelopes, your pizza boxes can be recycled. We want your box, we don't want your pizza. So if it's got grease in it, that's fine. But if it's got a little sauce and crumbs or a leftover slice, just wipe that all out. Again, we don't want your food. We want your box though. Yes.
Real quick, so you said the plastic top on that paper coffee cup cannot be recycled.
Yep,
But
the
the cup
cup and the cardboard sleeve
Yeah.
can be. It's the lid that cannot be recycled. The stopper. So a good rule of thumb, anything bigger than the palm of your hand or a Post-it note can go in the recycling. Anything smaller can fly off the truck and become litter in our neighborhoods or it can just get lost in the recycling process. Anything that, or if you can think of a toilet paper tube, anything larger than that too, like size-wise. It's just the smaller items, yes, it's really difficult, we wanna recycle them. And we changed the rules about 10 years ago. We want your caps on your plastic bottles, that's great. We don't want your metal lids on your spaghetti jars. That goes through a glass shredder, it goes through a 3-inch screen, and when that lid comes out and you have spikes of glass, it's a little dangerous. So, yeah, so if it's the same material, keep it on. If it's different materials, you're gonna have to take the lids off.
So do you separate the lid? Can the lid be recycled and the glass but not together?
No, it's, if you put the metal lid in like a can or something, yes. So what happens at the recycling facility, everything is sorted first by shapes. So you have your rounds and your flats. So if you have a flat lid, it's gonna go in with your paper. It may get sorted out later, but it's, all of that slows down the process.
So you can take the glass of the plastic bottle but not the metal lid?
It'll think, yeah, it'll put it through the paper.
Like if you use the tissue box, it's cardboard, but it has the plastic on the
That's
inside.
good.
That's okay?
Yep, that's good. Yep, your tissue box with the little plastic on top, that's fine. You don't have to take the plastic labels off your bottles anymore, or the paper labels off your jars. That's all good. They have figured that out in the recycling process. And this is always my favorite question. Yeah, go ahead.
So, I have a friend, we'll put it that way, who lives in another jurisdiction that you don't have, who fills up the recycling Kirby with plastic bags full of mixed recyclables. What happens when they get to the sorting place?
Correct. Unfortunately, those will go to the landfill.
So they just pull the whole bags out?
Yeah. Yeah, and then you have to think about your transportation, your fuel, your air quality, that's all being impacted by a truck going to the recycling facility, and then another truck headed back to the landfill. So, we're doing double work here.
I'm just wondering how the guy, like, if you see plastic bags in there, you know it can't go there, but when they're doing the recycling, like, are they still sorting, sort of, like, or does it do it in the trucks? Like, that's a crazy
I'll speak
job.
for my staff, I can't speak for Richland County's haulers, they just have different rules, they have private haulers, and Forest Acres has their own staff, and then Casey and West Palm also have their own staff, but my guys, yes, if they see it and they have the arm that comes out, and then they've got a camera, so as they tip it, yes, they can see what's going in there. If they can pull it out by climbing up on the truck and pulling the bags out. But if they also see it, we have tags, and if you get 3 tags, your recycle cart gets removed. So we have a 3-strike rule. So if you're not recycling properly, we will remove your cart for you.
But we're gonna get a ticket on our trash can?
It's a white anchor, like you
I haven't had that done yet.
Well, you must be recycling right then. Or you haven't noticed.
You've been
You haven't noticed, so you must be getting away with something here.
She's Mason's address.
Yes, yeah. I will go personally check your car. But no, our staff does a great job trying to also communicate. We do, Columbia's housing market is 50% rentals. So we see a lot of people turnover, and it's different from where you moved from before, especially with our college population. So those tags are really just a way to communicate, say, hey, we saw this, maybe let's not do that next time, and then here's what you can recycle. And those are on our cart tags. So, no, I was still getting there. So my last question, and my favorite question of this was left or right, which is the landfill? Right, both? Okay. Neither. This is actually your glass pile at the recycling facility. So after it goes through the glass crusher and everything, this is what your glass looks like. So when it's piled and ready to be sold for market, that's all the labels and everything in there. It may look really dirty, but the best thing is glass is infinitely recyclable. It's just extremely heavy to transport and expensive to transport. But our glass actually goes to a manufacturer in North Carolina that puts it in the reflective paint on the road. So if you see little sparkles in the yellow and white paint, that's glass.
What's on the right?
They're both the same thing.
Imagine stuff.
I think, and because Sunoco is kind of visible from the road, I think that's where a lot of the misconception comes from, like, oh, it's all going to the landfill or we're not recycling it. Because it does look like garbage. It doesn't look like what you have in your mind what recycling should look like. Yes.
So you brought up the subject about lovely students that are here in Columbia. And we're so grateful they're here. Don't misunderstand me when I say this, but when it's move out time, there are issues with all kinds of things, mattresses, furniture, sofas, beer, kegs, all that stuff. So who do you call about that? Because that can sit out on the street for a really long time until it's eventually collected.
Yes, so 3 years ago, we started our summer move out program. Just a little bit of a take on what Charleston does. Charleston has a little more space, alleyways, parking lots, where Charleston, they deliver dumpsters to certain locations. We just don't have that kind of space here in Columbia, but what we have between May 1st and July 31st is an expedited service. So if you call our office, depending on the time, we'll get that pile between 24 and 48 hours. 5 o'clock on a Friday may not be a call until Monday. But no, that's been actually really helpful with seeing less trash. I know we are working with the university. We're actually been talking since last year about how to limit this and limit the impacts on our neighborhoods.
I just have to tell you that I have used the city app, and I dragged my trash can out late, and y'all came and picked it up. Like, I put it in there, I was like, I woke up late, sorry, if someone could swing by, and y'all came and picked it up, so.
We certainly
I do
appreciate
like
the
your
honesty.
app. Yeah, I took a picture with it.
But yes, we do have the app. Richland County has the app. I will just say we had it first. So we're a little trailblazer, but you can type in your address. It'll give you your collection schedule. It'll tell you holidays, if we have an emergency. There's also the Waste Wizard tool, which is your basic search box. You want to recycle a plastic fork or paint or plastic bottle. It'll tell you where to put it. And then we have a game in ours, and you can sort all the materials and build a park if you need the levels. So just a little fun thing.
Adam, if you wouldn't mind, Adam's got the mic, so questions? I think we're in question period.
Yeah.
Good. Adam,
Well, I realize that I'm a real troublemaker for the Columbia recycling. I'm very adamant about recycling. I recycle my toothbrushes. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but it's a solid chunk of plastic. So I'm pulling things out constantly from our own trash. I'm the Columbia trash guy, pulling things out of my own trash because I have a whole family full of people. And I'm constantly doing those types of things. But are you saying that toothbrushes are not recyclable?
Oh, sorry.
It's a show plastic.
It is plastic, so the rule of thumb should be a jug, bottle, or jar. So even though it is plastic and it could be recycled, the problem is that Sunoco won't have enough quantity to make it profitable. Unfortunately, it is still a business. Is it the right thing to do? Yeah, probably not.
If I bundle them in tins, can I?
Maybe you should have a plastic bottle. I'm sure they wouldn't catch that. It's just, it's quantity, but they have filters or fires for.
We're wanting to know what the top no-nos are. I mean, he gave us a little bit of a list, but I'm breaking all of them, I think.
So your big no-nos, the top ones that we see are these. It's plastic bags, plastic bags and films, dry cleaner bags, Ziploc bags, anything like that, grocery store bags. The next one is plastic bags with recyclables in it. And then the third one is food waste. So those are the top ones. So DES, now Department of Environmental Services. It will always be DEC to me, I'm sorry. But they did a study a few years ago throughout all the MRFs throughout the state, and this is what they came up with. The non-curbside items are scrap metal, like bicycles, metal hangers from the grocery store, bed rails, we see bed rails. And then biohazardous waste, we'll see like sharps, like needles, anything like that. Again, people still hand sort this stuff, even though it's made of plastic and metal. Like, it's hard. And then the shredded paper is just too little. Trust me, when I interviewed, I said I can put together a message and I know how to communicate, but I may not know exactly what it was. I have daily contacts. I was ripping the foil lid off and putting the contact thing in the recycling. I was like, oh gosh, I have so much to learn. So it's fine. We just need to change and do little changes.
We're glad you're here.
Yes, thank you. Here.
No.
I've got a question for you. We've talked about types of trash and whatnot, but we haven't talked about types of homes that you collect from. So can you talk about multifamily?
Yes. So the way our ordinances are written, we do strictly residential. So residential homes, duplexes, triplexes, complexes. We do not do apartments. We have don't do apartments, don't do condos, anything like that. For those groups I speak to, if you can get a cardboard dumpster, just do one thing. Doing one thing is better than nothing. If you can get a battery collection or something, or even scrap metal collection, and earn the apartment complex a little bit of money. So just do one thing if we can. If we can. I know a lot of apartment complexes are not keen on that.
So yeah, you mentioned a little about curbside, stuff, furniture, other things go out. A lot of people put stuff out, and people come by and get some of it or whatever. But so when they're picking that up, there's not recycling having to do with that, or they will. There's some of it is recyclable just because it works.
Are you talking about like the junk van that comes before we come?
Well, some of what's left, what's all picked up, what's all picked up.
So typically, if the junk van comes to your trash pile before we get their own collection, they are taking what they can to scrap metal and earning the money off of it. What we pick up curbside, your mattresses, furniture, anything like that, and then your leaves, grass clippings, anything like that. Yes, there is a little bit of recycling. As long as the pile is separated and the leaves aren't bagged or anything, we will take that to our compost facility. Again, we grind and screen that once a year, and that compost is good for residents. We have landscapers buy it, so yes, there is a little bit of recycling.
One other slight question. You talked about electronics and batteries, and you say that if we gather that up, we have some old televisions, we can just bring them to y'all's facility, and then y'all dispose of them?
Yes, well,
but
yes.
we shouldn't put those on the street.
So we do not do curbside collection for electronics. So our facility is 2910 Colonial Drive, right there at Hardin and Colonial, and there's a drop-off right there in the front of the facility.
How about appliances?
We do on-call service for that, so typically the junk van feeds us there on appliances, but we do pick up what we call white goods because they all used to be white: refrigerators, dryers, washers, dishwashers. We will do that as an on-call service. You just have to call our office.
I'm curious what you do with a lot of the bulk processed material. I've heard that a lot of some foreign countries take bulk processed material, and that they may be running out of need to take any more of it. Is there a point in time where we get to a position where nobody wants to take our bulk sorted processed materials, and then what do we do with it?
Right, so about 10 years ago, right when we switched from bins to carts, China put in one of their policies, the national sort policy, which limited the amount of contamination coming into those loads. So basically, Asian countries were taking our trash, and I think China got a little bit embarrassed on their air quality during the Olympics, and this is where it all stemmed from. So yes, there are, and a lot of Asian countries have followed those restrictions where it's down to like a 0.01 contamination. So what's happened over the last 10 years, and the recycling markets have done well, we built up our domestic markets where we're keeping more material here in the US. So, and I can only talk about South Carolina, I can't really talk about what we're doing across the board as the United States. But we are seeing more of our material go to Alabama, North Carolina, Georgia, so a lot of it's staying right here.
Thank you for what you do, and thank you for coming today and enlightening us on all these interesting details. You talked about the recycling process and the conveyor belts and that type of thing. After it's all said and done and it runs its course, what percentage of stuff is truly recyclable?
I don't have that answer. That would definitely be something from Sunoco. Sunoco services about 2/3 of the state. I will say our contamination rate is about 14%, so I would say 14% of our material is not going, and that's just Columbia's material. And we collect probably 5,000 tons a year in recyclables. That's what I came back here.
You mentioned the economic impact. Does the city pay Sunoco for this, so it is a net drain on the city coffers to recycle?
It is. So for a long time we earned, and I will say Columbia never got into recycling to make money. We did it because it was the right thing to do and the best way to protect our environment. So for a long time we were getting a $25 per ton rebate, which does not cover the cost of operations or anything. So that was always planned to spend money on this, but yes, we do pay per ton, and that is and the way we have it, it's a fluctuating number every month, and that's based on what the markets are doing. I mean, right now with gas prices, plastics are super high, and we're seeing higher prices for plastics 1 and 2. It's just it's changed, and we understand it's a split cost between us and Sunoco.
So, I have a business downtown, and I know that they don't recycle, so what I do is I take the bottles and cans from downtown, and I take it to my house, and I put it in there.
Perfect, I love that.
But it's a pain in the...
I know.
So I wanted to ask, so I'm a real recycler, and so what I do is the blue bottles aren't recycled. So then I'm putting blue bottles in with green bottles and brown bottles, and then I threw the bottles in and one broke the other bottle. So now there's a bunch of glass in the bottom of the container. And then when they dump the container into the truck, do they sort out the blue bottle, or is the whole thing just a waste?
No, it's not a waste. It'll eventually get sorted out when it gets to Sunoco. So my team does not touch anything really. I mean, they'll get the big items that they see, like garden hoses and stuff like that. But if it's already small like that, they won't touch it. But it'll get sorted out in the recycling process.
Okay, maybe I'm the last question. So,
a few over here.
Oh, okay, a few over there. So during COVID, there was the sound of recycling throughout everyone's neighborhood with all the whiskey bottles and all the wine bottles. So my question to you is, are there less whiskey bottles and wine bottles now that we can all go out, or are we just hiding that? What's going on with that?
So there are trends with our waste every year and then over time. We have not done a waste characterization study recently, but I would say that you are seeing less glass in general packaging. So yeah, probably we're just hiding it in plastic bottles and maybe not glass bottles. But when economic times are good, you see higher rates of waste, garbage or recycling. And when we're in a downturn, you see people spending less money, so you'll see a little bit more waste. And even throughout the year, we see a huge increase starting November to about January 15th. All the holidays, parties, get-togethers, whatever it is. And then we'll see spikes when the students come back and when they leave. And then in the summertime, we'll see like 0 yard trash. It's too hot to cut grass. But it's all cyclical. And it's really hard to tell the tonnage because your packaging is getting thinner just for transportation costs, trying to fit more on a truck to get, your payload. But I think if you look at the volume and the volume of it, it's taking more recycling to get a true ton, so.
Just two real quick questions. One, plastic bags, they are recycled at Publix here?
Yes.
Okay. And two, do you have a hazardous waste drop-off for Richland County?
Yes, yes, and yes. So your plastic bags, that's a good point. Because they're going to Publix, that is a direct send to a company called Trex. It's not mixed in with everybody else, like everybody's bottles and cans and all that. Because it's all sorted right there and it's all one thing, they don't have to go through a process. Trex makes composite wood, they make playground material, decking, all that kind of stuff in your plastic bags.
And hazardous waste.
And hazardous waste, yes. Richland County offers events. I don't know when the next one is, but I can certainly follow up, or it'll be in the app, because we like to send all of our stuff to Richland County. We are not dictated by the Solid Waste Act in South Carolina to hold hazardous waste, so the counties, they actually get funding for it, so they host it. But they'll do paint, light bulbs, batteries, all that kind of stuff.
I got time for one last question.
You said you do the compost, so what are those sales, the bins?
So we sell it every day of the week. It's $20 a ton, which is basically a scoop on our backhoe. We also do 2 giveaways in the spring. They're usually in April, but you can come through the line. It's like 8 to 12 on a Saturday. You can come through the line as many times as you want.
You did say something about selling the compost.
We do sell the compost. You have to bring a trailer, truck, whatever you're gonna haul. We don't haul it, or deliver it, but you can come get it every day of the week.
I'll dork out one more time. So I bought 2 rain barrels. I think that was that okay? So yeah, we're talking about rain barrels.
We do rain barrels and compost bins for wholesale. Yes, we do sell those twice a year.
When is the next sale for the wholesale?
The pickup day is October 10th at the Hampton Preston House, and sales will probably open in September. So if you follow Columbia Water on social media or their website, they will have the link for the sales. But yes, those are discounted wholesale prices. We've been doing that for, gosh, 10 years. So yeah.
Okay, we'll leave this here for 1 second. Just as we are closing up. Quick question to you, Julia. Speaking of food waste, do we still have to-go containers for food?
Yes, we do.
Yep, a big announcement. If you would like to take any of lunch to go with you, we do have containers. That you can fill up whatever food here so we don't have any leftovers. And Graham has put some forms on your table. She is asking for speaker suggestions, and if you could fill those out, she'd really love ones for people that you know personally, or that you know how to get in touch with. So she's got those on the table, and she will absolutely read them. And any other questions from the floor? Anything we need to address before we end?